And welcome to Gem Collectors with Shawn and this spooky October. We are in the countdown of the number of shows that I will have left here with you. And this is the third of five. So we have today, and we have the end of November show, and we have the end of December show. So you want to make sure you don't miss a single one of these shows, because not only am I bringing you my oldie but goodies, but also something near and dear to all of our hearts, especially those of us who have been here so long, like awesome. What I'm calling the Founders Passion Collection. And our founder, Frank Cercelli, who passed away about 7 or 8 months ago, he had sold the business, of course, maybe 12 years ago or so, and it was a lifelong passion of his, starting off as a rock hound, just as myself. And his first collections of items before gemstones were minerals, crystals, and later, as the ability to get nicer quality specimens, he followed suit on that, to the point where he amassed a stunning collection of minerals and crystal specimens, even fossils and meteorites. And you're going to get to see a little bit of all of that in the coming shows and in today's show. Today's show, we're going to be featuring from the Founders Collection. In other words, coming from Frank Cercelli's personal collection. And I can attest to that, because we were, Kim and I were, Raven, to many of you as well, were responsible for actually curating, cataloging, collecting, and wrapping up the items in his home, which made it very personal. And there is still some amazing specimens that his daughters are keeping for a while, you know, and then as time goes and as the emotions die down on some of the items, they're going to become available, we expect, as well. In the meantime, you're getting to see items that were near and dear to him, that he had maybe some additional ones, and ones that maybe the girls didn't notice so much growing up. In other words, for the time period that they were there, it was from teens, they're only in their 20s now, so many specimens, and we saw the china cabinets. You know what? Frank did exactly what I tell all of you to do with your china cabinets. Throw out grandma's china, you know, not in the literal sense, but box it up, put it up. Put things that will be noticed and that people will say, wow, that's beautiful, what is that? And what I mean by that is, those are your mineral specimens, those are your fossils, those are the items that will draw interest to that wonderful, expensive china cabinet you have, that everybody is tired of seeing old china, right? You know, you never get it out, and if you get it out, by golly, someone's going to break, chip one of the pieces. Your mineral specimens will look absolutely stunning under the lights of a china cabinet. And I know. So that is what Frank did. He put amazing specimens right in his living room, and it was these specimens that his daughters got to see as they grew up every day part of their life. So that collection is going to be forthcoming. This other collection is partly from his personal office, which was higher up in the home, and you're going to get some neat, see some really neat things, and at amazing deals, just like last week. Sweet Home Rhodochrosites. I am talking about the best of the best, even from with knowing the exact pocket they came from, most from the hedgehog pocket in that amazing September 1996 find. If you missed out, you can go back to that show. It's just the last show prior to this one, and watch it. Those items still haven't been pulled from inventory, so any items that haven't sold, and there are plenty of the sweet homes that are still available that have not sold, go back in, make a list, call up any sales rep 24/7, middle of the night if you want, and see what's available. I'm also going to be showing a few more of those. So stick around. Great, great items, not only from my and Raven's longtime personal collection. She's been collecting since the age of 10, me, age of 11. I'm a little bit older, so I still have a few years on her for the number of years collecting, but She hangs on to her items a little closer than I do. I had to, unfortunately, make a living from them, but not my personal collection. But as my age grew older, I realized it was time to share those, and you're going to get to see those, including in today's show, pink diamonds. And why? Well, over the many years of me, remember, scrapping jewelry, that's something, jewelry does wear down, jewelry becomes out of date, and what do? You melt the gold, especially at today's high gold price, and as a matter of fact, my refiner isn't even taking silver in right now. Due to the high price of silver, they were so overwhelmed with people hauling in, and I remember this in the early 80s, I had friends who had money, and they turned into millionaires in the Atlanta, and they did it in that very short period of time when silver went up, on the Hunt brothers, all that going on, fuel, and they would buy, it was a group of 4, they would buy an additional plane ticket for their 5-gallon bucket. I would see in their buying office, and one had a pawn shop, people bringing in platters, teapots, everything. It didn't mean anything to them. They inherited it from grandma. Silver was all-time high. They would literally, so it was heartbreaking, masterful craftsmanship, and take a torch to it and just melt it all down. Or to make it into a smaller mass, just like they do with cars, crush it, just hammer this stuff back into little tiny blocks. Then they'd put the lid on it and personally travel to New York to the refining houses with 5-gallon buckets worth of a small fortune, and going as a group for security. And they did this every week until, of course, the market dried up and everybody sold off their goods. So what did it take? It took another generation, basically 2, for everybody to inherit, then be given, and then inherit grandma's silver again. And now with silver, what it is, it has caused an amazing, kids who it means nothing to them, or they were given as a wedding gift, silverware, true silverware, and it's all being melted down at a tremendous rate. So that is the latest on that. What doesn't get replaced are mineral specimens. All one-of-a-kind new mineral finds are extremely rare, and you're going to see something right now that I actually have never had one to offer for sale, but this is coming straight from the founder's passion, which was minerals, crystals, fossils. Let's show you one of them. This is a beautiful, beautiful sphere. And you have seen ruby in zoisite, right? This is ruby in fuchsite. Now, fuchsite is the word given to a mica that is chromium bearing. So this is what you will see in the green, with the green. And look at the large ruby crystals. Now, in many of these, the kyanite is so blue, it forms a blue ring around. That's very evident. In the case of these, you can see a blue-green. So right here, you can see that's kyanite. That is kyanite that forms the ring right around there. And what do you have around that? This is a type of muscovite, a white muscovite. And then you have your green fuchsite. And look at the size of these. Now, you talk about fluorescence. Wow. These beautiful fluorescence, so you can add to your fluorescent collection with this piece as well. You can see the hexagonal shape to the rubies. This one, and it's important by way of value when you see not only the size of the rubies, but the overall concentration, look at that, of rubies in the sphere. So if you have a sphere with only a couple rubies dotted here and there, it makes a big difference in value, plus the size of them. Look at the size of these. So this is a really impressive specimen overall when compared to others. So that's why I'm saying they do not compare equally if they don't have the same concentration or size of rubies. That becomes really important. And then the other things are the neat kyanite rims around them, the white muscovite, and when you look at this and you get it at home, you'll see the reflections in the muscovite, and you say, oh yeah, that's a mica. This also, I added this. This comes with a genuine. Now when we talk about black onyx, you often see black onyx as being like jet black, solid black, nothing but black. Well, yeah, that is the treated black onyx. When you have genuine black onyx, you have it where it's not all exactly perfectly black. It's natural. And you know me, that's what I prefer to offer, is something completely natural. And you have it right here in this cool base. Now, you can use that base for something else if you don't want to use it for this, but I thought this value-wise was certainly worthy of using and contributing the black onyx base to this piece. Spin it around different times so you get those different looks of it. Anytime you will. You can see by my hand how big that is, so it's a really nice size. And the price is a really, really good deal as part of the Founder's Collection. I know that he would want everyone to be able to afford one of his items, wonderfully collected over the many, many years. Price on this, only $98. $98 with the stand, and if you know me, I'm a cheapskate about those stands, so when you get a black onyx stand, you're getting something really, really cool. Now, we have a lot to do, so we're going to keep moving as quickly as I can. I wanted to give you a preface, though, about the founder of Gem Shopping Network and how important these specimens actually are, not only to me, but to anybody lucky enough to get one of them, because you're getting a little piece of history and a piece of his passion that led to him founding Gem Shopping Network. Still going strong 28 years or so later. Item number 129. 25, 129, 25, 25, and look at this. Look at this. Now here is a beauty, and that is something that many, many people will collect. And there's people that just specialize in collecting nothing but azurite. This from the Sumed mine, world-renowned Sumed mine, which is now closed, is extremely desirable. These large crystals of azurite from there are extremely desirable. These are in excellent condition. And let me show you just how beautiful the blue is. And you can get a feel for it when you catch the light at the edges of it. Look at that. Look at that intensity of color. And that actually goes throughout the entire crystal. It just, the saturation due to the size kind of allows it to be darkened looking. But when we look at it like that, look at that. You can see those amazing, look at the excellent shape these crystals are in. Now, many times they are pseudomorphed by malachite, but not in this case. In this case, it is all azurite. There is a little bit of malachite along the edge, you can see, but here is the backside of it. And this is phenomenal. Azurite crystals this size, this piece is a world-class piece. And you know what? It actually is so world-class that I think that Cheapo Shawn is actually going to include a stand with this one as well, because I think it shows off well in the stand. This, if you want one, a really amazing, amazing historical piece, because remember, there is no more items coming from the Sumed mine due to, of course, it being closed. But it was open for so long and producing, and even many new minerals were discovered from that mine, including one Sumebite, kind of difficult to say, but lots of neat things to study and learn. This one, I have an opportunity for you. It would easily, in the auctions, when I see these offered, the buyers that love these material really run up the price. And it doesn't surprise me that when I see these going for $700, $800, $900 in a specimen just like this with the size crystals that has. This one only $278. This is the good stuff. This is the good stuff when it comes to azurite crystals. And that one would be one that would really stand out in any collection as a really fine, fine opportunity. Now, let me show you this next item isn't from the Founders Collection, but it might as well be. It is a, well, let me show you, because it's only because I only have a couple shows, and I gotta raise some funds here. Item number 129-1625, 129-1625, and let me offer one of the world's rarest gems. And believe it or not, look at that. It is a tektite moldavite. What does it take to make another one? The impact of a large meteor, so much so that it sends and ejects material up into the atmosphere, space, what is known as space. I read that they estimated the material that came from the impact of the meteor that created moldavites. It sent material upwards of 150 miles into the atmosphere, and that is well into space. But gravity still pulled it back down into what is known as the strewn field, sending them many, 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 many miles across the area of Bavaria and Czechoslovakia near the Moldau River. Some, when they hit the Besanitsas hit a lake, and it created a completely different look to the moldavites. These are actually facet grade, and they have been faceted. I've sold some faceted, and to determine whether you have the real deal, you just look at it for glass. They should have little bubbles, and they should have little in their wavy kind of lines like glass would. This is an exceptional piece. Beautiful formations on both sides. Wonderful silver work, you can see, so it can be worn in either direction, and it is a large weight. Approximately 35 carats, and it is exactly the color that you want. A wonderful, wonderful clarity, a large, large pendant, and an excellent opportunity if you want something ready to go and made as a piece of jewelry for you. This is a beauty, and I tell you what, I wouldn't be able to put together one now anywhere near the price that I'm offering this one for now. To source the material, the cost of silver and labor, the whole works. Only $348. $348 on that, and wow, indeed. $348. Now, let me show you, because we have so many unique things. You're going to like this next item because it plays into what I'm showing you right now. And some of you may be familiar with it, some of you may not be, but let me show you. You're going to learn a little something. Item 129-2925. 129-2925. Japar palavine. Say, huh? Yes, Japar palavine. Now, let me tell you, palavine is not a recognized name by the Mineral or Gemological Society, but it's more of a marketing name. It is, let me show you, palavine is a cross between, they put palisite and olivine together to create palavine. What it is, and some of you are probably very familiar, make sure you Wikipedia or search this if you're not, because what would normally be a few dollars worth of olivine is actually goes for around $2,000 a carat. These are cut from the 449 kilogram world-renowned meteor that fell in Japar, Indonesia. And it was one of the meteorites that was actually classified as a palisite. A palisite is a nickel iron meteor that has, and I have sold palisite specimens, or maybe one I had. It was my personal piece. It was stunning. And it had, but the Japar meteor struck, and its composition was, I don't know the percent, but I would have to say at least 50% were olivine. In other words, when they say which peridot is the gem variety of olivine. Now, olivine is magnetic, so it's one way you can usually check, and these are certainly magnetic because I had to check. And they were of a facet grade quality. All the huge meteor, all the olivines in it, and hence when they have olivines, then it's referred to as a palisite, were facet grade or close to facet grade. And what they have done is they started taking slices off of it and cutting the olivines, so much so that they have made and created lines of jewelry from it, and created jewelry and offered loose gemstones from it as well. These measure 1.6 carat total weight. The one in the middle is 19 points, and it's an oval. The other stones measure from 1.7 to 2.2 millimeter, and I don't have these certified, but I will guarantee their certification as being from the Japar meteor. So if you ever have anyone that says anything different, I stand behind the fact that these are absolutely from that meteor, that palisite. And it is able to be identified as such because there is a chemical difference between the earth-laden olivine and the one that comes from outer space as a iron nickel meteor that had struck. And they only discovered it, I think, in 2008. So 449 kilograms. And the stones that they cut from it are not large, mostly in this size. So here is your chance to get a really rare parcel. That is, of course, from my own personal collection, and I'll miss it. I don't have any others. This is it. This is it. And I have these offered. Go look them up. And I was looking up individual, like the one in the middle, the 19-pointer, with absolutely, it was $2,000 a carat. It was $2,000, what should make that stone alone $380. And wow. Along with the other ones, even at $1,000 a carat, you're talking about over $1,000 parcel here, and that is the current market value of these, whether in jewelry or as loose stones. So I have no idea why I'm going to offer it for the price I am, but that's just how I roll. Here you go. No other parcel like it. Take advantage of it. This is only, think about what it took to bring those gems to you. These are truly outer space gems for $88 for the parcel. $88 for the parcel. And again, to find these, it's not like finding another outcrop like in Arizona mixed with rhyolite and you find a peridot, or maybe the peridot they found in Pakistan. No, it had to take the impact of a major meteor, and not just any meteor, one that contained extremely rare olivine. So this is truly a stone from space. You'll hear peridot described as that, mistakenly described as a stone from space. No, its relative maybe has come from space. Same thing they say about the tektite, the moldavite. So here we have two space-oriented gems. You have the palivine, or what it really is, the olivine from a palisite, or you have this, the tektite, the moldavite. Now, this has been from Earth to space. It was created into glass from the impact and the heat, turning it into silica, ejecting it up into space, but yet not far enough to keep it going. It came back down through gravity, and then therefore it's called a tektite. There's only, basically, tektites are named after where they the impact site is. There's only 7 locations in the world. They're actually the state of Georgia here. They're called Georgiites. If you want to be really lucky to hunt in South Georgia, you might be able to find a tektite. There's Indochinites because there's some found in Indochina. Obviously, this is a separate one from the other ones, and other locations, but they're very rare. So here's 2 opportunities. What a neat collection that would be. True space rocks, and not just wannabes. They are. Now, let's bring it back to Earth. I have a rarity here. Item 1292625. 1292625, and this is something you're familiar with, the September birthstone, except this is a biggin. Look at that. That is a large sapphire, and an impressive one at that. And it's not alone. It actually has lots of friends in the specimen with it. And look at this. So relative to my hand, okay, muscovite mica, peppered everywhere around here. It's Afghanistan. And as we go in and look and show you a little closer, look at all the other sapphires. Look at all these. Boom, 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 boom. And of course, if these are the ones exposed, look at the, I don't know, I say bottom, but that could be any side you want to make it. Of course, there is sapphires unseen that is within the mica. And look at that. It's always tempting, of course, to want to knock off another piece here or there. You never know what lies inside. Maybe a crown jewel. Speaking of crown jewels, that was heartbreaking to see that those stolen pieces from the Louvre in France. Just heartbreaking. But it was also beautiful to see the workmanship that was done in the time period and the quality gemstones, including in that sapphire necklace. It was neat to see zoning and all that, because you know what? Those were unheated gems. Beautiful. Okay, so anyway, how about this? Look at this. Now, those gems and those crown jewels in the time period that they were made, they were sourced not from some of the world famous sources that are known now. They were sourced from places that were much harder to find, let's see, the quality emeralds that would match. Or think about all those pearls. Those were natural pearls, and they had to find enough Baroque ones. What did it take to create that crown? A lot of oysters, a lot of clams, a lot of clams. And think about the diving that had to be done when you didn't have scuba gear then, and the primitive diving bells that they used and things like that. That would have taken a long time, longer than even putting together a gemstone crown with matched jewels. Yeah. So I think of things like that, and then the rarity really comes to mind, especially when you consider how many diamonds and everything that were used. So anyway, amazing workmanship, terrible security, and heartbreaking, no matter how you look at it. All right, look at this, a big piece. This is, again, from the Founders Collection. So this was straight out of Frank's showcases, and something that he would have admired and enjoyed. I'm offering this for only $158. Look at that, $158. Exceptional opportunity, exceptional. Now let me show you, wow, where do we go for exceptional next? So many items. Okay, more of the Founders Collection. Let's look at item 1292325. 1292325. Take a look. By the way, that sapphire piece stood up well and displayed well all on its own. And seeing that I only have a few shows left with you, I happen to have a few stands left over. Maybe I will be a little bit more generous in offering a stand. This looks like one that needs a stand. How about including a stand? Yep, I'm going to include a stand with this one. So just know that you'll get it. In the meantime, look at that. Look at that chrysocolla and malachite. Now, this has been polished, and here, though, is what really makes this special. And if you don't know your geography or don't know your history, you're going to get a little bit of both right now. As soon as I saw this on the back, made in Zaire, that right away said a lot. Because there is no Zaire anymore. In 1997, it was, we won't go into the Civil War history of these countries, but it was changed to the Democratic Republic of the Congo. But what that tells me is that this piece was from prior to 1997. Prior to 1997. And that's a long time ago. That's why you don't see some of the quality that you see now. The quality then is so much better from the earlier discoveries. This is a remarkable piece. Look at, that's the chrysocolla. Look at the color of this chrysocolla in just trying some different, yeah, look at that, look at that. And you actually want to keep that Made in Zaire sticker on there if you want, but there's nothing wrong if you wanted to like cut a piece off. Look at that, make a pendant out of just that little sliver there, polish the rest. Those of you that do lapidary work would find that very easy to work with. Plus, by the way, Chuck, it carves really well. It's soft and it polishes great. This is only $58. $58. Let me show you. Here we go. Another one from the Founder's Passion Collection from Frank's. 129-2425. 129-2425. And all right, so to compare the two side by side, here we go. All right, so we're going to take this one away, which was super, super inexpensive. Now this one, let me send this over to the Raven. All right, look at the color. Now, as we look at this, what I found remarkable about this, as we come in close on this, it's the little spherical, look at that. Beautiful, look at the polish. So the polish brings out all of this pattern, all these patterns. And you can see, of course, the blue is going to be the chrysocolla. The darker green is going to be the malachite. I see mostly chrysocolla, even in the darker colors here. But look at, I love that. Look at that. Let's see the back. Here, look at that beautiful blue. And then again, Made in Zaire, telling you the age of this one. $78. $78. Now, I am pretty much basing the price on, 1997 pricing.
See that carved into a whale.
You see the carving what?
Into a whale.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I do.
Into a whale.
It does. Whale?
Yeah.
It does look like a whale. You're right. I see that. Which we all here amongst us love to find animals in the different in different pieces, and look at that, even with the and then the hump there. Very cool. $78. I'm going to throw in a stand with that. Let's look at item 129-2025. 129-2025, and I am going to start off by showing you. Look at this. Look at this. Okay. The inside, and that is a piece that formed uniquely, obviously, and I'm not so sure that that this was not ground out intentionally, or it could have formed around something that dissolved later, but nevertheless, or it looks like heterogenite, one or the other, or being the dark colors, but very cool. Anyway, it cuts down on the weight if it's certainly sold by the pound, but it allows this piece, look at it, this self-displays, I think, so attractively. I was actually watching a 1950s horror movie the other day, and it looked I think it was called The Blob. It looked very much like this. Look at this piece, three-dimensionally polished all the way around, and look at that nice size piece, even as it is. So let's see, 454 grams to a pound. So yeah, there's 2 pounds. That's why it weighs so much. A good weight to it. The darker green is malachite. This lighter color blue, chrysocolla, a beautiful combination between the two. And these are from the known copper deposits that, Democratic Republic of the Congo are known for now. This large one, oh, by the way, which they still come from now, the L'Etoile du Congo mine, which means the Star of Africa mine. That is where many of these come from, and this one in particular was notated as such. $188, only $188, and that is a stunning collector's piece. If that was put in an auction, as much as everybody, the buyers out there love chrysocolla, that would easily run up $400-500. Now let me show you something that would surpass that amount if offered in that environment. Item 1292125, 1292125, and this is from that same area of the world, and everybody loves one of the rarest forms of malachite. Right here. This is fibrous malachite. Fibrous malachite, and as we come in on this, you can see why they call it fibrous malachite, and that is because of the fibrous nature to the crystalline growth. And we can see that as, there we go, beautiful. And I'll turn this at different angles. Those are actual individual crystals of malachite. And you can see how they form and fan out. Now, what is unique about this is it is actually, look at the side of that, double-sided. Which is unique because most of the times they are attached to matrix or the wall of a pocket. This has the formations all the way around it, and including a very interesting little bug right here. Look at that, adding additional aesthetics to it. Look at that, look at all the crystals. And that's where, if you're like Raven, you can have fun by putting other little critters or whatnot, little carvings of critters into places like that. Now, I don't think this needs a stand. It sits nicely and self-displays well on its own. Look at the size of that compared to my hand. That is cabinet quality. Beautiful, beautiful item. And fibrous malachite, that size, you are looking at a piece that would be easily in a $600 to $700 range. And this is a rare opportunity I have to offer pricing at a level that you'll never see, that you just wouldn't see. Just don't tell anybody, all right? So this is, in my mind, what I'm doing is saying thank you from Frank to all of you who have supported him from the very beginning, because at the very beginning, he offered many, many other opportunities to get mineral specimens, fossil specimens, brought in other people that offered the same. And it was his passion in those items that started it all. Of course, later, to pay for a TV network, you have to go to gemstones and jewelry and whatnot, but his heart lay with his passion, and that's why the Founder's Passion Collection. $245 on that. $245 lonely only dollars on that. Wow. Wow. All right, let me put that up. I'll be right back. Look at this. Look at this. I know you don't understand exactly what you're seeing right now. I'm doing this just so you can see the color and the clarity. Facet grade. Now, if I was to say, from looking at it right now, what is that? And if you were to judge it, not looking at the, of course, graphic, what that would be, there could be only two things that should come out of your mouth. You would either say epidote or you would say tourmaline. This happens to be probably one of the most common colors of tourmaline, of the inexpensive tourmalines, is this olive green. But rare nonetheless. And let's come back and show you when you have these in a pencil formation. Now, I have, oh, no, it's not the right number. Thank you. Sorry, that was completely my fault. Item number 1289825. Yeah, sorry about that. So I fooled everybody anyway. All right. Let me make sure I gave you, okay, 3 stones, 1289825, 128, yep. Now, these, right, okay, so shouldn't have the blue pink if there's a description of them, because the olive green is the color that goes with it. And I have the length listed, so let me just verbally tell you that they're 87, 73, and 63 millimeters long. So look at these. Look at how long these are. Now, I just put them in some of the goop at the bottom just so you can get an idea of what a neat display they would make, because I'm offering all 3 of these together. These were mined at Petronera. Most of the goodies came out in the 2000s. And mostly in the early part of the 2000s. This was a collection of 3 that he had together of these beautiful, beautiful olive green pencil, what they call the pencil crystals. And look at that. Oh, you can see the green right there. They make wonderful, look at that. Just a little bit of etching on some of these, a little bit of etching on the ends. I actually looked to make sure that they didn't go, that they hadn't, broken as one long crystal, and they hadn't. But look at the 3, how unique that is, and facet grade. A wonderful collection of matched colors coming from a world-class deposit, Petronera. And here's your chance to get in on all 3 of these, an exceptional opportunity. And I cloned some, if you heard me talk about that before, so if I messed up and you see something that says blue-pink when you know the color isn't blue-pink, that's because I didn't erase it in the cloning. That is just my error. All right. $198, only $198, and that would sound normal if it was for one. It is for all 3, $198. Look at that, and that long, that opportunity does not come along very often, and this is old material. And I'm going to show you just how old when I get ready to show you something else that he had collected from Brazil. And it had a newspaper with it. Wait till I show you that. 198 on those. Now, next. This is one I have never offered something this unique before. It is item 1292825. 1292825. And let me put this here, move these. Let me show you, look at how amazing Mother Nature is in the way she created this jewel. And it is something I had actually never seen before, and I had to do some looking at it, studying on how exactly geologically this all came together. If you look at the outside shape, you start with that roughly, it's like 6 sides. Okay, that can go with lots of things. It can go mostly with quartz. All right, this is calcite. This outer layer is calcite. And then look at the amethyst. But I held this against the light, and the amethyst didn't look like it went all the way through. You can see it doesn't here in the bottom. You have these wonderful quartz crystals that look black. Okay, you see these? Now what is so, and look at along the edges like this. See what they are, and this is what tells you what they are right here. You see these little botryoidal forms? That's goethite. That's your iron oxide. And one of the forms goethite comes in, of course, is also a black broom straw-like type formations. Look at that. Isn't that neat to see that? And they're within the quartz. They're within the quartz. Goethite included quartz. And then you have amethyst, which is really unique as well. Then you can see there's multiple crystals of calcite that really come together. You can see the terminations here. And they nestle themselves around the amethyst, which also has goethite inclusions in it. This is completely like nothing else I've ever seen. And, oh yes, okay, this is what I want to show you. There's always so much, and I don't have the time in this show to go into the things I normally would go into, but this is one thing I want to show you. Okay, calcite, you should know, is extremely doubly refractive. In other words, it splits the light into a prism into two, and that's why things that are doubly refractive, like peridot, sphene, you'll get this doubling look, which can aid in the brilliance. It can also cause kind of a haziness at times. Let me show you right here what I'm talking about, because this is a perfect example. You see, there's no way, no matter what I do, I can get a focus on those dark spherals. There's no way, because it is the stone itself that splits the light and makes it impossible to actually focus as one. And this is one of the best examples that is easy to see double refraction. And I thought it was just a great educational specimen to see that. And that is why they look doubled or they look hazy, is for that reason. And it is so highly birefringent, in other words, has such a big double refraction, that it almost completely offsets one from the other. It's just not a little bit doubled. It's, almost completely separate from the original. You know what I mean when you have this in your hand looking at it. You'll learn a lot. Look at that. And those are goethite in there. Anyway, never had seen one of these. And by the way, amethystos is the Greek word, the derivative of it, and it means not drunk. So that is what it's derived from, because it was believed to help prevent intoxication. I'm not so sure how effective that was. All right, let me put that away, and I'll be right back. All right, so as Asif pointed out, I liked it so much I didn't even want to put a price on it. $178, only $178 on that. An excellent value. There's so much going on in that specimen. So much going on. A nice cabinet-sized piece. All right. Now, we'll pause for a moment while I tuck that away. Check this out. I thought it would go along. Perfect segue from that amethyst specimen to this faceted jewel. This is Uruguayan amethyst, and if if the light doesn't pick up exactly the reds and the blues in this, well, when you get it at home, you will see that. And let me see if I can pick this up in these tweezers. Look at this. Look at the colors in this. Really intense color. Uruguayan amethyst is known for the intense colors. And what you want to see is also zoning. You want to see zoning in it because that tells you it's real. There's so much amethyst that is lab grown in the market. Almost any amethyst anymore, you assume it's lab grown before you would assume that it is anything else. By looking at this and seeing the zoning and the imperfections, there's actually a little plane of inclusions in this. When you catch it at the right angle, it's visible. So you know you're getting the real thing, because other than that, the lab-grown amethyst, it looks very much like the Uruguayan material because they want to mimic the really high-quality Uruguayan material. So they look very similar. You want to see something in it that tells you it. It's like kind of like, in a way, I think it's so funny, Russian demantoid. It's the only gem I know of where people want a flaw in their gem, and which of course is the horsetail inclusion that for some reason people think that is definitive as being Russian origin. No, you know by now that I'm an expert on the demantoids by bringing you the Persian demantoids, bringing you demantoids from Madagascar, from around the world. Italian, before they had some of these other ones, the Italian demantoid garnets, you should go look them up. They are stunning in color, but they also will have horsetail inclusions, which is a form of actually serpentine, some say asbestos, but they're all in that same family. The funny thing is if a Russian demantoid actually does not have those inclusions, it's actually worth more to not have that flaw, but a lot of people like to have that flaw, like to see that horsetail inclusion, and I understand it. I understand why. But remember this, no matter what, it's still a very valuable gem, whether it came from Italy or Russia. But know this, it is not definitive for it to be of Russian origin. There are demantoids with horsetail inclusions from other origins than Russia. All right, here's a beautiful, nice big gem. I have it discounted, a stone that would easily often go for $20 a carat, $100 a carat. Some crazy pricing on this, but what's crazy pricing is $88. Only $88 on that, and a beautiful, beautiful gem right there for you. All right, now, wait till you see what I have coming up. Okay, where do I start? You know what I'm going to start first? I'm going to start first with something that everyone can relate to recently, and that is, let's show you the item number. Item number 129-1725. 129-1725. If I said what has been in the news lately that has been such overwhelmingly in the news, and that is what you're getting ready to look at. Gold. Gold and the price of gold. Wow, look at this. Now, let's put this on a little bit there so we don't get that reflection. Look at that. Now, what I am showing you is completely natural, native gold. Now, you know from the prospecting that I do, I have, 3 dredges, including one that has a diving, can run 3 diving units. It's not true scuba, it's just an air tube to where, you can go stay underwater. And I have the wetsuits. I have the compressor for the dive suits. I have the 6 horsepower motor to run a 3.5-inch dredge. I have 200 feet of dredge hose to access water that may not be where you need it to be. Just prospecting, love it. Metal detectors, the whole works. But I have never even found so much as something as beautiful as this. That is a stunning item. 129-1725, and there we go. The 16-to-1 mine. Because if I had to say from looking at it, And thanks, Miss Danny, for waiting before pulling up the info, because I often like to get people thinking before we give them the information. And that reason being is, if you get used to seeing enough gold, you can pretty much, you can't always know the mine that it comes from, but you can get close by knowing the state, because certain regions have certain roughly carats or alloys of gold that are found. Like Alaskan gold will often be a little bit more rose or copper colored. Well, it's because it can be a much lower carat, 75% to 80%. California gold often runs around 90, 92% purity, which gives you a much brighter yellow. And then it is true, Georgia gold. Georgia gold, and I never believed it until I started assaying it, because I actually have equipment to do complete assay work on gold, and also to be able to extract gold from other things like keyboards, all that kind of fun stuff. But it takes a bunch of fancy equipment that looks like you're making something illegal, but it's a lot of fun. And if you like to, oh yeah, when Raven first came down and she saw my garage, I think she, if she didn't know better, she would have thought, because it is truly beakers, it is chemicals, it is a rectifier, which is a electronic amplifier for providing the electricity and reverse, all this fun stuff. And then she saw me what we call bomb. That's where I pulled the gold out of solution. You would never know that the gold gets to be completely suspended in a solution. You don't see it at all. You throw in this catalyst, and it, what they call, completely rains the gold out. In other words, it drops the pure gold out of solution, and it's one of the most amazing processes I've ever seen. But it creates sulfuric acid, which is heavier than the air, and when I did it outside, I actually watched the vapors come down around the 5-gallon bucket and hit the grass, and visually, almost in real time, kill my grass. It left a big ring that I never got the grass to grow back around that in the time that I was there. And it told me right then that I did that process in the right place. Out of the house, out of the garage. So what if I killed grass? I didn't kill myself. Through all that, I got a lot of experience with the color of gold and getting the close to what the carat might be. All right, the 16-to-1 mine, founded in 1896, still producing to this day. It is a hit and miss mine. There are times where they had what they called the $1 million pocket. They hit a vein, and it produced $1 million worth of gold. There was another one that produced, you know, and you're talking about gold at $17 an ounce and at $35 an ounce, these kind of numbers. There was another shoot, you know, just what a vein of gold that ran for about 20 feet long, and they called, I forget, they nicknamed everything, but the amount of gold that they pulled out in these pockets. Now, it was hit and miss. Twice they have had to sell off their personal collection of the finer pieces to keep the mining going, which is kind of sad, but their collections are in museums around the world from the 16-to-1 mine, because what it is known for, it is known for gold in quartz, not golden quartz by way of color in quartz, gold in the quartz, and it was made in, and still is, made into beautiful jewelry. I used to sell it on my live show. For those of you who've been here long enough, you know that I did a live show with Raven for 9 years, Monday mornings, 3 a.m. to 9 a.m. for 9 years. Then, of course, the podcast here for another 9. And yeah, so that's our history. The gold in quartz is stunning when you find it like this. Look at that. So look at that. Now, here's the interesting thing. And remember how I tell you that you never know what's on the inside. Well, let me tell you one thing you never want to do, and that is to hot glue any specimen to anything. And that's what they had done. Look at this. I'm going to show you the base. Here's the base. This is the way I came. Okay, so Frank, this is part of the connoisseur. This is part of Frank's passion collection. And he had bought these, which I never would have. I would have made the dealer take them off. I ended up taking them off so no one would tear them apart. hot glue. Hot glue gets into the little crevices. You can do it if you're doing like a flat slab or something like that, polished, it comes off easy. No, with a quartz specimen, that hot glue gets into every little crevice, and when you try to peel it off, it will pull everything apart. So I had to be professional about it and take time and heat and all kinds of things to be able to remove it. Now, here's the thing, in removing it, it did pull a piece of quartz off. And remember how I tell you, you never know what's on the inside? Well, it pulled a piece of quartz out, and you can see that's this piece right here that it pulled out. Well, when it did, you can see the yellow? This yellow is from the hot glue. Now, you can take and scrape it off, but if I were you, I wouldn't do anything with it. But if you want to, you can do something and clean it up by hand. But look at this. Look at that gold that was on the inside. If you look right down in this crevice, you can see. You are in all the way? All right, let me get my handy dandy thing, because I just want to show you that this is what hides. Look at that gold. Look at that beautiful piece of gold that was on the inside of the quartz. And you would have never known it was there by it still being hot glued to that piece. All right, now let me show you the crystals. This is crystalline gold. And crystalline gold forms when it has enough space between the fissures in the quartz to form as a crystal. You can see it on the back as well. And that adds a lot of value to a piece if it's in its crystalline gold form versus just, let's say, more of a massive form where it fills the vein solidly. And those are often, of course, what was smelted down. Later, they realized the value to crystalline gold and quit melting it and saving it and selling it as specimens. Now you can do a specific gravity test on these and you can figure out exactly the value of the gold. I didn't do that because it would have ended up costing you more money because there would have been more gold than what I would have figured there to be by just doing it in my head. So here's to your advantage. This piece is only $288. $288. It can be wire wrapped into a piece of jewelry. It can be left as it is. It's a nice, large, representative piece of California gold. The 16-to-1 mine, which still producing to this day and is world renowned for its high quality material. It's also in the well-known county for producing gold in California, and that is bragging rights right there. Sierra County. This is a wonderful item. Every time Frank Cercelli would go out to the show, one of his must visits was to his gold nugget dealer, which was separate from the main shows. He had to go to this one particular dealer, and he always had to visit him and pick up a new gold specimen. And that's what you're getting to see. Next item is item 129-1925. 129-1925. And I had to take all this time and prep these for you off of this ridiculous, oh, it makes me so mad. You know how much I don't like goop? Well, imagine how much I don't like hot glue. Yeah. All right. Take a look at this next one. Now, I'll put it next to this one just for a moment so you can get comparison. Look at this beauty. This, gold is so aesthetically gorgeous. That is why it has been treasured and sought after to this day by everyone. Look at that piece. So I'm going to remove this one, and it will be put away beautifully and safely. Now, again, this one was on a hot glued base, and I removed it. But I can tell you, by them having done that, whoever did it, they propped up and supported some of the specimen by doing that. Now, just caution to anyone. The thing that's holding the gold together is the gold, and the quartz. So it would be easy if you wanted to bend something back and forth and break something off. So you don't want to do that. You don't want, you want to handle it carefully. Now look at this. These are crystals. These are very well crystallized gold. Now, one of the ways that they can recover crystallized gold is to use one of the most dangerous acids on the planet. Never, ever, ever open it, touch it, do anything with it. It's hydrofluoric acid. It dissolves quartz. If something dissolves quartz, well, stay away from it. But I can tell from the jagged edges on this that this is a piece that has not gone through that process or anything. So it is just the way it came out of the ground. Look at the heavy percentage of gold. Gold is 19 times heavier than water, hence giving it a specific gravity of 19, which is its weight relative to water. Platinum has a specific gravity of 21, so platinum actually heavier than gold by weight, and that's what specific gravity is. It's relative weight against the weight of water for the same volume, for the same amount of volume. So I have a whole tricky setup where I can weigh something in water, weigh something in gold, do a formula and figure all that stuff out. But that takes time and a lot of fun and a lot of learning. Look at this. This is an extremely aesthetic piece. If you wanted to, make it into two pieces, you could. Let me show it to you in my hand. It's a large, very decorative piece, and you can see again the high color of gold, telling you that it has a very high carat weight of gold. 16 to 1 was the name of the mine, and given that because at the time it was the difference, the way they valued gold against silver. So 16 times, so if silver was $1 an ounce, gold would be $16 an ounce. And that was the ratio for a long time, 16 to 1. Great name for the mine. This piece, you can see the total weight of the item. You get the little display case with it because you can just put it on regular goop if you want. That's easily removable, and you can have a nice display for it and using this case. So now, specimens like this, believe me, they get very, very pricey. And I'm offering it to you at much, much less than what you would find these going for elsewhere. This is only $588. $588, and it's neat to know exactly where it came from, and it is part of the founder's passion collection. And boy, if that doesn't give you gold fever, I fully understand gold fever. I have had it for a long time. So, an excellent, excellent opportunity. Oh, this goes to that moldavite too. All right, now, one more gold item I have to show you. Oh yes, there is one more. And let me see. I don't have the item number there, so I must have it here. Okay, let me now take a look at this one. Item number 1291725. 1291725. Now, I'll put it next to the other for a moment so you can see a little bit of the difference. This one, a lot of quartz, but let's show you that a little closer. There we go. I think we got that scanned in right. And let me make sure I have everything. All right, now look at how beautiful that is. And you can see the other little specks of gold around this one as well. And you can see by that little fissure right there that that is one way how gold actually makes its way into the quartz under intense pressure when there is the molten gold forced into these little fissures like that, and that shows you exactly how that can occur. Look at that going around there. Now, or it can be simply, if you wanted to, this piece, I think a little flat edge, and you could remove that whole top section, revealing who knows what. Look at beneath. Look at all that other amount of gold in this. And that is pretty attractive. Look at that. Look at that little speck there. And in the world of gold, a little speck can end up being worth quite a bit more than you imagine. Now, let me do something here. I want to make sure I have all the measurements right. Don't want to mix one up with the other. And that that's a beautiful, beautiful classic white quartz. That's the other thing that the 16:1 mine is so desirable for, is that pearlescent quartz that makes it so attractive when you make jewelry with it, and you cut cabochons, and the gold veins are incorporated into the quartz as it's cut. This piece could easily make 2 specimens if you wanted to. You can see how that piece would just, it'd be fun. That's me. It'd be fun to actually play with that and remove that upper section and then have the lower piece as well. That would be quite striking. Or keep it just as it is. But there's certainly other goodies you can do with that. Price on this is an amazing, amazing deal. And wow. Yeah, I've just been looking here. Okay, let's do this. Let's make it only $278. Only $278 on that one. Wow. That's a beautiful, beautiful opportunity for someone if they collect gold like that. Wow. All right, let me tuck these away safely, and I'll be right back. So let me go back over the gold for a moment. You can see there was the 3 specimens, so you get to actually compare them side by side. I did a little mix-up as far as the dimensions go. The price is all fine. So let's just refresh you on this. You can see here, go by what the item number is that you see on this. This is that really big, beautiful one that was more expensive at $588. This is that one that could be split into a couple of nuggets if you wanted to. This is the one that was $278. And this first one was one that was $248, the very first one I had showed you. So there is your 3. What I had done was the millimeters were mixed up between the 2, but that really doesn't matter because they're not sold by necessarily the physical size of quartz that the piece is. It could be lots of quartz, little gold, and then it really doesn't change the value any. It's the amount of gold. So let me just show you each of those. The dimensions are correct for that one. These 2, the dimensions are just switched around. But that's not really what is as important as getting the price right and the actual item. So there you go, 3 incredible 16:1 mine. Now, let me go to another stunning opportunity on a couple of sweet homes that you did not see from last week. Item 1288325, 1288325. And I'm telling you what, having lived in Denver, Colorado, and mined and prospected all over Colorado, I can tell you Colorado gold is stunning. To have those gold specimens in the background, as I show you this next piece, is a good backdrop for what Colorado is also extremely well known for, and that is its sweet home rhodochrosites. Look at this. Look at that specimen. And I am telling you what, as we come in on this, This is one from the Hedgehog mine, and of course, I think the Hedgehog mine, Hedgehog pocket, perfectly named. It was discovered in September of 1996, and I believe the name from the ones I've seen has to do with the quartz crystals intersecting the rhodochrosites. Look at how beautiful both of those are. The rhodochrosites and the quartz bisecting them, the quartz crystals around the piece, and stunning clarity to the quartz. This also comes with the label, Hedgehog Pocket, Main Stope Drift, Alma, Colorado. And wow, that is a very beautiful piece, especially if you like the matrix specimens, which I really like. That one is only $168. Only $168 for that one. And these, remember, if you want, listen to last month's show. I explained the history of the Sweet Home Mine and the second mine, the Detroit City Mine, which is now closed as well. So there is no more rhodochrosites coming out of the Sweet Home deposits. Item 128-8025, 128-8025. I said that I always wanted to give everyone an opportunity price-wise. And this is another beauty. I didn't have labels for everything, but you can create your own label because this one is also from the Hedgehog Pocket. Look at that. Look at those crystals intersecting that rhodochrosite. Look at the clarity to the rhodochrosite. What a stunning specimen that makes. And just, when you hold it in your hand, when you get it in person, you really realize you have something special. And remember, those came out of from 1996, a long time ago. And a lot of people have just held on to them, and such as Frank did. He bought these I prior to 2010, from what I can tell and the information I have. And wow. So I told you I wanted to offer something priced for everyone. This is a beautiful specimen for only $78. Only $78 on that. Take advantage of it. Let's show you another one. Item 129-0325. 129-0325. Let's see this one. And oh, wow, wow. Now these have been hard to come by, and why I wanted to include one. Look at that. Look at that. Now, here is a stunning opportunity on getting one of the specimens that the deposit is also well known for, and it is fluorites. Fluorites, and believe it or not, I have a label. This happens to come from what's known as the fluorite rays. So they named everything, especially in the 90s, the different pockets that they found. And another pocket they found was the blueberry pocket, they called it. And I think that was because they found a bunch of blue, purple fluorites with it, and they looked like blueberries. So it's, as the miners went on and hit these different pockets, they would name them. But you think every pocket produces something. No, the stats were 9 out of 10 of the pockets that they hit were void, had nothing in them. Yeah, 9 out of 10. That, it would be disappointing. So the mine struggled financially a number of times. So it wasn't just all boom by any means. This is beautiful with those fluorites on top of the rhodochrosite. It's really, really a rarity, especially in a size like this. Normally you'd have to pay a lot of money for one of the bigger, impressive pieces. But in this case, only $128. $128 with the label. Look at that. You have, it looks like, Wow, look at that. Some quartz with it as well. Item number on this one, 1290325. What a beauty. What a beauty. And opportunity, only $128 on that. And like I said, I have not shown these prior, so this is new items you haven't gotten to see before. All right, now let me hand off some of these gold pieces and let me tuck that away. I'll be right back. All right, this is the treat. This is, well, one of them after the gold. All right, now, Frank Cercelli, if you had watched this show for 28 years, you would know that tourmaline has always been one of his favorites. You know, he has specialized in tourmaline of many colors. Well, I also realized and found out he loved tourmaline crystals. And this is now, you're going to get to see a series of his from his personal collection of Pedonera crystals. Pedonera has everything from the rocket pocket, beautiful, beautiful, intense green color tourmalines, to these bicolor tourmalines, also etched tourmalines. Now, etching is when, let's say, the crystal forms and a hotter geologic fluid. It can be anything from a hot silica, a quartz solution, another hotter tourmaline kind of solution, some kind of geologic chemical combination that will etch away the surface of the crystal itself. Now, you would think normally that could be a bad thing. No, in many cases, etched crystals are very collectible, very desirable, and they leave a really interesting pattern on the surface, and we'll show you some of that. So, here is the first of several that we're going to do. This is the very unique pink and blue combination of tourmaline. And then you see on the surface, you have an etching, which, as I catch the light on it, you can see that. And when in the areas it's not, you get to see just how clean the crystal actually is. So look at that really interesting surface finish to the etching. And then if we look down from the end, you can also see the classic trillion shape to the crystal, and then any other additional sidecar growth of other crystals that may have formed along with it. This is a nice large size, pink and blue on it, and it's neat because of, depending on which way you look at it, depends on what colors that you may see coming out of it. Now, because look at that. One way you won't see any pink, and in another way you see a good bit of it. Kind of fun to experience all the different things that tourmaline can bring you. $88 on that. You would see that in an auction situation for multiples of it. Item number 1289325. 1289325. We have a lot to do, so let's see if we can't get through these with some kind of speed, except for the fact that I wrapped them up rather well, which might slow things down, especially this one, because when you see what it looks like, you might say, oh, yeah, I'd wrap that a little better. Miss Raven, you might want to come over here and help me unwrap some of these. Look at this. Aha, look at this beauty. Look at this beauty. So I'll compare it to the other for a moment. And then, wow. Look at the end. Look what you have. So the item number on this jewel, let me give you that if I hadn't. It is 1289325. You don't have that one? Okay. Do you know how to enter the info on it? No? Okay, then we will skip it and we'll go to another, because I have the info on it, but if you don't If that hasn't been entered, then let me just set that to the side and we'll move to another one because I certainly have plenty to feature for you. Let's look at, see if you have item 1289425. You have that? Yes? Was that a yes? Okay. You got such a quiet little voice there. Just speak up. All right, so what we have here, you get, this is a beaut. This is a beaut. Look at this. We'll come back to this other one another time. Look at this. Look at this. This is another wonderful bicolor piece. And wow, look at the wonderful etching on it and how attractive that is. And let me show you the end of it as well. Look at that. Look at that. Pedinera. Look at that. Known also very much for its watermelon tourmaline. So look at that. You have an indicolite blue, nice clarity at that end, and then wonderful pink at that. So nice long. This would make a great pendant. Just another wonderful item for your display for tourmalines. Just a large, relatively to a lot of tourmalines, a nice item, a really nice item. Price on this, it's only, wow, $235. $235. And in the world of tourmalines, that is a bargain. That is a bargain. Now, let me show you next. We're going to kind of keep these a little mixed up. Let's look at 12877. Well, let me see that number. 1287725. Now, we're going to jump right back here. I knew we sold a lot of the sweet homes the other week and the other month, I guess I should say. But I also wanted to make sure I brought in enough inexpensive ones for everybody to have one. Check this one out. That is another one from the Hedgehog Pocket. I don't have a label for it, but of course you can easily create one for it. And look at that. Look at that with those intersecting quartz needles, hence the Hedgehog Pocket. Great name, I think, because many of them had the quartz needles that intersected and bisected the rhodochrosite. Look at the quality of the rhodochrosite, just facet grade. And to see the quartz needles going right through that. And look how beautiful that displays, no matter which way that is turned. That is a stunning specimen. $78. I can assure you, you would see this for hundreds of dollars. Look at that, only $78. So if you already have one, this would be a great one to add to your collection, especially if you don't have one that is bisected by the quartz. Now, let me show you item number 1289725, 1289725, and here is a affordable, which I say that because many times they're not when it comes to crystals like this. Look at this. I'll show you. Look at the colors of nature next to each other like that. That is stunning. Natural colors like that. Wow. Now, this is interesting because it shows you how Mother Nature likes to fix itself. So geologically, something happened to the crystal to cause it to bend in its growth, or maybe it even fractured, but then nature goes and fills in that. Hence you get these healing marks. You get healing areas in emeralds. You find healing inclusions in many other gems. Look at that.
It looks like it's got some green in it too. On the other side, I saw some like green.
Some green? Oh, I saw that. I see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get multiple different colors, and of course, you can get colors that, well, when you mix two together, you can find out all kinds of other things. Look at the little pink. Look at how that crystal splits like that. Actually, wow, that is gorgeous. I love the unique formation to that. Petanera is also well known for a type of termination. This is also lepidolite here, lepidolite, white or white muscovite. That most likely is lepidolite, which isn't called lepidolite, it's called polylithionite, trilithionite. It's much easier to say lepidolite. And, but they have done away with that name officially, but it's going to be tough for all of us to not use it anymore. This specimen, take advantage of it. This one is really beautiful and extremely unique in its formation, and I am going to offer that one for only $177. That is, in the world of tourmaline, an excellent value, because there is something else that goes along with it. Yes, you get a bonus crystal. Look at that. Yep, 2 crystals. There is another one to go with that. Let's see if it stands up on the end, its end, like I like for them to do. No, but you can goop it. There we go. There we go. Just what I like for them to do. Look at that. Look at that. 2 crystals for the price of, well, less than 1. What a beauty. Okay, now I'm going to show you. Let's look at item 128.99.25. 128.99.25. And oh, this one, it's looking like, look at the size of this one. Woohoo, wow. Look at that. Look at that. Wonderful. Again, pink and blue mix. You have also what looks like, I think, albite feldspar coming through the end. Look at that. Blue with the pink, light pink exterior, which it probably would have been a lot thicker. It looks like in some of the cases that they have been etched away, the outer layer being etched away. And you can see down here you have a thicker layer of pink, maybe. Geologically, no telling what all was going on there, but that is a large, heavy crystal, and I'm going to make this one only $488. $488. That is. Tourmalines, when I see them being offered and then I see them in auctions, which, you know, what something is worth is what someone is willing to pay for it. And it's been obvious to me that in the tourmaline world, people are willing to pay a lot of money for worthy crystals. And that is a large, worthy crystal. These are old stock and wonderful items to take advantage of. Now, let me go through, thanks for doing that. That'll save me a lot of time. I can get to a lot more. Item 1290025. 1290025. Look at this. Look at this. Now, that is an indicolite. Look at that. Beautiful indicolite. And then look at the way it formed on the end. I've seen this, we've seen this before, where it almost like a V notch like that. Kind of very unique. Look at the colors in that. Classic indicolite. And look at, you can see the clarity. You can see my finger right through that piece. So, heavy. 26 carats. These were all mined in the early 2000s. In the early 2000s, when Petanera was producing some beautiful crystals during that time period. Price on this one, excellent value, $228. $228. Now, I have another 2 crystal combo here. Item 128, 96.25. 128, 96.25. That's a huge help. Look at these two. Look at both of these. And so here's a combination deal. You get, and look at that, a wonderful indicolite, great clarity, and then again, you get that little V-notch in those, which it seems in my research on those, that was something that occurred kind of commonly. Look at this. Look at that incredible toothpick style indicolite, and how beautiful the blue is and the clarity. Both of those for only $218. $218, an excellent value when you do, especially do the math on that, when you're talking about, what, $12 a carat, something crazy like that. Now, next, let me show you item number 128, 95.25. 128, 95.25. Compare this one for a moment. You can see how big this one is. Let me show you. We're going to, here you go. Look at this. Now, I am going to put a light behind here, and look at, that's what I'm talking about. That's why that is an indicolite. Look at that. Some fantastic color, and cut correctly. You can, there's a stone in there, and you can also lighten the saturation of it. Let's see the bottom of this. Look at that, where another intersecting crystal. Kind of unusual how that might have occurred. You know, some etching on the end of that, but boy, that's a crystal, and that would look backlit. Let me see how that. I just like to get them to stand up on their own. Opportunity is knocking on this one. Price is only $588. It may sound like a lot, not in the world of tourmaline like that. No, not at all. Now, we only have a couple more to show you in the tourmaline department. 1290125. 1290125. Look at this. Here we have another wonderful blue and pink with some of the lepidolite to go with it, and only $228. Only $228. Look at the size of that. And the etching is, well, you can see you have your classic striations there, but look how attractive, though, the etching is in a case like this. That's what I mean. It really look. It can really add to the crystal, because in many cases, if you didn't have the etching, what you would actually see is only one color from the outside. You have to see the other color from looking down on the end of it, like a watermelon. In case of etching, it actually etches away some of the surface where you get to see other colors within it, like you can see pink right there and blue. Only $228. That is a big crystal for the money. And this one, item number 1289125, 1289125. Here we go. Look at this. Now this is really neat because you have a sidecar crystal on it right here, and again, pink and blue. Beautiful termination there. Look at that pink, and I have a opportunity on this one as well. Only $388. $388. And again, these are all from the Founders Collection, and you'll see that in the information given. You'll have all the other information that you don't see up there, but it will be on the information you get. That is a big crystal. That's a beauty. Okay, now, let's see what we have coming up for you. I have, next, let me show you this. Item number 1287825, 1287825. And again, for those of you that might have missed out on those amazing sweet homes, I am offering a couple more because I didn't show some that had some of the other matrix with them. Here is one of them. Look at that. Look at that. This is again from the Founders Collection, and it is stunning. You have the quartz crystals on this. You have also what is commonly found with it, additional minerals, and it looks like tetrahedrite, maybe. You have to do a little research on these. This is also from the hedgehog pocket. Don't have a label for it, but you can certainly create one. But I know, at least, and you'll know exactly where it's from. Mined in 1996. Look at these quartz crystals with that. Beautiful. And yeah, that looks like tetrahedrite. You can also maybe have chalcopyrite, pyrite. Do a little research, have a little fun with it, because that is what this is all about, is learning and having a neat piece of history and treasure here. The mine, remember, both of them. This mine, this was from the original Sweet Home mine, which is closed. And then the other mine, Detroit mine, was opened in 2016, and it was closed again last year in 2024. The original Sweet Home mine was, I believe, closed in 2004. So long time ago. This is old material. That's a fantastic specimen, and I am pricing that so that, again, everyone can afford one of these. If you go and try to do price comparisons, which I wish you would, you will see how much something like this is selling for in the market. Price on this, only $188. Frank would want that. He'd want to give back. He'd want to say thank you. And this is an opportunity to do exactly that. Let me show you item 1290225. 1290225. These were, again, some special pieces that I wanted you to have an opportunity at. This one in particular. This one in particular because it has an incredible stair-step formation, which is really unique as we look at that. Look at that in between them. In between those crystals. It's, from what I had heard and what those in the know have been saying, this type of formation that you see, very unique and very desirable, very collectible. You have some what looks like probably tetrahedrite in there as well, and that's a big crystal, and with a really unique formation, a jewel. And it's only $198, and I do mean that when I say only. Look at the pricing of these, and you will agree with me. Okay, let me get set up for the next item. I'll be right back. Take a look at this. I was trying to read my Portuguese, but I failed. So to me, that would say boa chance. But I have a feeling that that's not really what it says. In researching this, this is actually one of the most popular newspapers as a supplement across all of Brazil. If you look at the date, Domingo, same thing in Spanish. I do, speaking of Spanish, it would be Sunday, and the date December 2004. December 2004. This is all in Portuguese, and why am I showing you this? Because this is what I found that wrapped up what I'm getting ready to show you that has never been seen, one of the rarest combinations of a gemstone in matrix, which is almost never occurs. Imperial topaz. Imperial topaz in matrix. Now, my friend who owns the Bella Vista mine, so long time. So I have gotten to know a lot about imperial topaz through him. And if you remember those loose imperial topaz I've had before, and the faceted larger ones, they've all come from the mine. He's told me about how, and then in further studies, I've read that almost all imperial topaz is found in a decomposed matrix. In other words, loose. The crystals are just loose. And I can see how that would be. You know how it would not take much for me to pop that probably right out of there. This is what they call a ferruginous matrix. Ferruginous matrix. In other words, an iron ore type of matrix. And I say that and because it's so true. Now, what you can see here, what looks like, some of these look like large magnetite crystals. Other just looks like big hunks of, well, there's quartz here. It is a conglomerate of a little bit of everything that would take very little for it to come apart. And look at this. Now, this crystal is stunning. This is a beautiful, terminated, look at that, complete crystal. Now, what keeps this specimen from having others within it? Nothing. That's what I always say. There's always a chance you can find something else in here, but it would take, you know, breaking this piece up. It is so rare to have a imperial topaz in matrix that I'm sure you're looking at this one for the first time, that you have not seen another, because I had not until I had found this in, of course, the Founder's Passion collection, Frank Cercelli's collection, and leave it to him to have something so beautifully rare and unique as imperial topaz in ferruginous matrix. Now, with my magnet, sometimes it's magnetic, sometimes it's not, but most all of it has a weight and feel of iron ore, And this is a huge specimen. Look at that, and a very valuable color. And it tells me that this is very old stock mined, coming from the early 2000s or earlier. This is one of the largest, really most remarkable one. And this is a stunning collector's piece. Stunning. But very few of anybody would ever have such a specimen as this. In an auction, the price would be bid up well beyond anything that I would imagine, because I hadn't seen anything like this. So it's like, go find another one for price comparison. There's not going to be another one, but I know this: $778 is a bargain. $778. Look at that crystal. Look at that color. That's the good stuff. That is a stunning color. Let me show you next. I only have a few. Item 129, 1025. 129, 1025. And I wouldn't have these if it were not for our founder, and whose passion runs like mine. Look at this one. Look at this. And a beauty. Another beauty. Look at those two crystals. And this feels like just a hunk of iron. It kind of looks like a meteor, you know, but they come with peridot in them, olivine. I hadn't seen any with topaz yet, but, you know, again, there could be something else hiding on the inside. You never know. This one, a wonderful color in that. Just, I love it. I love it. And price only $288. $288 on that. Really, really rare chance to get one in matrix. I cannot tell you how rare that is. Item number 1290725. 1290725. Get ready to faint and fall down when you see this one. Look at this. Yep, right. That's a faint and fall down. Well, we'll make sure that we give you the info on that. Here is the tag. Ouro Preto, Brazil. Beautiful. 1291025. Do you have it? Look at the color. Look at the clarity. 1291025. Yeah. 1291025. There we go. Look at the clarity to that. Look at the quartz crystal. This is stunning. Now, what keeps this from being like, I don't know how many figures, is the fact that it is, geologically had split right here. And you have the quartz crystal. You can see on the same plane, the face here, but maybe in extraction, more likely a geologic situation. But the clarity, there is a facet grade stone in there without a doubt. That is, but it is so much more rare as a specimen, as a topaz crystal in the quartz than it would be faceted. I don't know. That's just my opinion. It's much more rare now. Whether it's probably more valuable if you cut the stone out of it. But what a shame. $288. $288. That sounds, hold on. Maybe I got it mixed up. Yeah, sorry about that. That was the last one. I did get it. $348. $348. I was thinking that was a bargain beyond belief, but $348, that should be more like $3,000. Look at that. $348 only dollars. Now, let me show you. Item number 1290525. 1290525. And wow. This is how they end up when they're loose. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. So comparing the two for a moment, let me take this one away and let me bring this over. Let me put this one right here. There we go. There we go. Now, look at that color. Look at that classic shape. There is your imperial sherry pink. And this is a floater. In other words, a floater crystal. And where you can see, when you look at the surface of this, and when you're familiar with what topaz is, you can see that this is a terminated, it's not broken, and this is a way the crystal finished its growth or continued to grow after maybe it was broken. That you can see the light reflecting across there on one plane. That is a termination there, and you can see the same thing on this side and that same pattern. So this is a floater crystal, making it additionally and uniquely rare. Let's put a little bit of light here if you can follow me there for a moment. Look at that. Look at that. What a richness in color. And the weight, 125 carats. Wow. All right. That's a jewel. That is a jewel. And especially since jewels have really been in the news the last couple of days. There wasn't any of these in the crown jewels. Price on this, take advantage of it. It is worth every penny. $875. $875. That is a rarity. It wouldn't have been in Frank's collection if it wasn't. Ooh, what a beauty. Okay, now, I am getting ready to show you, okay. Let me clean up my turntable. I'll be right back. All right, so we go from Imperial Topaz to stunning Argyle Mine, which is closed also. Look at this. Here is, now I've had these before. I hadn't had one in a long time. Of course I've had it. I've just been holding back, but with the clock ticking on my opportunity to offer everyone these stunning opportunity deals, well, I figured it was time to show off one of the stunning diamonds I had left from many years back. And I remember when these first were coming in the market, that's when I got a hold of these, few that I had. And look at this. Now this is in a C3, C4 range if you look at the color. And by way of clarity, it's a fantastic clarity. It's a good SI1. It's really cut well. There is, it's got a faceted girdle. That means the girdle is the part that runs all the way around the stone. And it can be either frosted, which is not polished at all, or it can just be polished, or it can have little faces on it that cut all the way around it. And that is the classiest way to do it. And that is what's been done on this. This stone, they go for a lot more money than they used to, but I am bringing a price back on this because I want to sell it. I don't have a show every week to be able to have the opportunity to sell it. So it's going to take this show right now, one of you wanting this amazing gem. It is 6.9 millimeters, so it's very well cut for the weight. And it is brilliant. Let me show this against my hand and actually my garnet ring here. Wow, look at that. That would make a wonderful men's, ladies ring. And let me also, there's another note you'll see I have for something really unique about this stone. And if I could show it to you, I would, but we've never been able to do fluorescence well. This isn't just regular fluorescence. This has a chartreuse fluorescence. It is a greenish yellow fluorescence like nobody's business. It's amazing. Here's the thing. Diamonds fluoresce 1 out of 10 blue. All right, so that's a natural average. About 10% of all diamonds have some degree of blue fluorescence. And you can always spot that by using a black light or going to a dance club if you want. Diamonds that fluoresce in the yellow range are 1 in 1,000. Instead of 1 in 10, 1 in 1,000. Extremely rare. I used to collect little small ones. I would use a light and go over the little milli parcels and I'd pick out the yellow ones. And I had, after looking at thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of diamonds, only a very few of them did I ever have. And those were only the little ones. Never did I have a large one. This is a stunning collector's gem. If you collect fluorescent diamonds, if you do not have a chartreuse fluorescence one, then you're missing out. This gem has that going for it, and it is really unique. Look at that beautiful, yeah, that is definitely a strong C3, C4, if not a little higher. When I tell you the price on this, run to the phone, make it yours. It's not a situation where you can ever make offers with this show, and that's why I've always brought you the best possible price right out of the gate. Take advantage of it. It's from a mine that is closed. Here you go. Ready? $688. That is only $533 a carat. $88 for a large, clean diamond. Clean meaning SI1. Look how well cut that is. That's a beauty. That is a real special gem. All right, now going along with special gems, let me show you 129 1225. 129 1225. These are stones that I have collected over the many years of breaking out rings and whatnot. And I don't know if I have time to take these out. Hopefully you can see them as they are. Pink, natural argyle earth mined pink diamonds. And when you see pink diamonds used in jewelry, you will often see them set in rose gold. They'll be set in a way that enhances the color of the pink. Well, I see right now against the black doesn't really do it a great favor. So let me see this. I just like to arrange them in the little circle. All right, let's put them against a dirty white tray that I see that I didn't clean first, but hey, no frills here. It is what it is, and it's a deal. Okay, now it's up to Chuck to make them look the pink that they are. They are absolutely pink. You can see that evidently, especially in person. And this is the best color you get when you buy a ring that says pink diamonds. And if it's not set in rose gold, you know, it's often kind of difficult to see the pink. But the wholesaler that's selling you the pink diamonds, they see the pink and they charge exorbitantly. 2 to 3 times the cost of what a white diamond would be. These are bright, clean stones, and you can see the pink in them evidently when you have the light and when you're not. You can see them at the different angles. I'm not charging what they're charging for this color pink anyway. And what I'm charging is less than what a white diamond would be. And they are a excellent value. Carat 29. So let's do this. Carat 29. I am going to make these, look at the clarity of them. They are beautiful. Oh no, that was that. Hold on. That was that single stone. Here we go. 44 points. 14 stones, 1.4 millimeter to 2.2 millimeter. And how about the whole lot of them, the whole batch of them, for what would be, well, why not? Only 300 a carat. How about that? That's less than what white diamonds would be. So doing the math on that, that would be $132. $132 for all those. Oh, those look real pink, actually, when I'm looking on that screen. You will not be disappointed. Besides, remember, you get all the benefits of Gem Shopping's return policies. Look at that. Look at that. What a deal. Now, let me show you. Sticking with the theme here, let's look at item number 129-3225. 129-3225. And here is a wonderful, again, selection of Australian Argyle Mine, Earth Mined. I put that because there's so many of those fake lab-grown diamonds. I can't stand them. And they grow them in a week, a 1 carat. I mean, so they've made them to where they're like cubic zirconia. 1.3 millimeter to 2.2. Check these out. Now these, maybe, hopefully you can see the pink in these. Okay, yeah. So the trade-off here on these is the clarity isn't as good as the other ones, but there are some in here that would go beyond the light pink. They'd actually go to the next level of grading for pink, and you have a nice selection. There's even one a little pinkish purple. I'm not going to take these out because of the time it will take and because of the deal. Look at the size of these, though. These are nice, evidently pink, 1.3 to 2.2 millimeters, and SI to I, so you have some with some inclusions in them, but they are a bargain, And $98 for the parcel. $98 for the parcel. That was for the big diamond. That's a great value. A great value. Even if they were just white diamonds, the amount they're asking for pink diamonds is insane. Let me show you one more chance. 129-1125. 129-1125. So you're getting to see my lifetime collection of breakout pink diamonds that I have had. Look at this batch. And now these came out of a really nice ring and were a very high clarity grade and very well cut. You can see by the brightness in them. And I tell you what, let's do this since these are really nice. If I can get them out, I will. Well, I was going to show them to you. This is one of those. Here we go. Well, let's just do this and then flip them everywhere. I should know how to do this by now, yeah? All right, here we go. Now, these are, the clarity is phenomenal and the cutting is phenomenal as well. And they, the grading, you know, what they must go through when they grade these, they have a definite light pink color tone, and the difference in the wholesale cost of them for having that light pink is stunning. It is so expensive to have a little bit tint of pink. Look at those jewels. If you just get those as if they were just white diamonds, it's going to be worth what I'm asking for these. These are really, really brilliant stones and really nicely cut. And it's funny because I'm looking on one monitor and they're really pink, and on the other monitor they're not so much. So when you get these at home, believe me, they're pink. And if they don't show it so much on your TV, maybe it's the TV. The human eye can detect much better than a TV screen, I think. Well, price on these, only $136. $136. Beautiful opportunity, and which is only $400 a carat. Wow. Okay, let me put those away. I'll be right back. Take a look at these. Now, this is Colombian all the way. Incredible, incredible color. Incredible, incredible clarity. And hopefully you have your green set right on your TV, because green has always been difficult to be able to really show you the color properly. Now, for what the human eye sees. Hold on, there we go. Now, these are stunning for clarity. Absolutely stunning clarity. And they all are basically the same size. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And to get emeralds that clean, it's hard, very hard to do. Very hard to find emeralds that, but you know, did you see in that crown that was stolen, the emerald one? I could not believe, of course, remember they had access to the South American emeralds then, and some amazing stones, because that's where they had to have come from. Look at that. These are a good, deep, intense green, so hopefully you're seeing them that way. Either way, they could be white goshenite. For the price I'm asking for them, it would be a deal. Only $128 for all three stones. $128. So that is, I don't know, 75 a carat or something. I don't know. Very inexpensive. Let's look at item, oh, this one, the opal. This one comes with a story. Oh my, indeed. This was a true event that happened this week, and it must come with a picture before I show you the item. And the guys couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. So let's start right here. Chuck, hopefully you can get this to come out. All right. So let me preface the story here for a moment. Raven and I were lost an opal. We lost an opal, and had spent 15 or 20 minutes looking for it. Until I stepped back and away from it, I did not see where it had gone. We had heard it hit the windowsill, hit the blinds, and this happened to be Raven's chair that doesn't get used very often at the bench. And when I stepped about 6 or 7 feet back, my focal plane changed and I saw where the opal had landed. If I had tried to place it in the cobwebs, I could not have done it. We had looked all around it, underneath it, on the windowsill, all around it, and didn't find it. It was only because we were looking on the ground, we were looking everywhere, not suspended in the air. Let me show you. Look at this. And then look at how well it created its own necklace with the cobweb chain. This is Halloween. This is the birthstone for October, is opal. It is my mom's birthstone. It is my son's birthstone. It is my favorite gem. And this is where it wound up. Look at that. Look at that. All we needed was a big spider to be coming down there. In all of my 55 years of doing bench work and flipping and losing things, this tops every situation imaginable for how different ways I had lost things. To be suspended in a cobweb, I think that would beat most everybody's story they would have to tell. Look at that. Look at that. So, take a screenshot of this if you end up with this opal, because I'm getting ready to show it, because there's like no other story you can ever come up with to beat that. You can see the windowsill. Look at that. And no, it's not, it's only a cobweb there because we give spiders the month of October off due to Halloween, and that is their season. So they get to have a little free run in the house. And it only occurred because Raven doesn't sit at her bench enough. Here's the other neat thing I saw. Look at the shadow of it as well. So it is its own designer item with its own story to tell. And with that, let's look at item number 1290425. There's probably something magical about the number as well. And as I open this before your very eyes, I'm going to show you. I have had this crystal opal set aside for either my son, who didn't want it, my mom passed away, and it is decades old, and it is now up for grabs. And it is a stunner, Lightning Ridge crystal opal. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let me put this here and show you what the good stuff looks like. Excuse my dirty. And you're going to see it. Look at this piece. This is a amazing, beautiful thickness to it, and a stunning multicolor gem from every direction. So that is, these are stones you just don't find much anymore. They just aren't found anymore. I've been to Lightning Ridge. I've been down in the opal mines. I have actually worked the equipment. I have seen just what it takes, and that little sound chink that the equipment makes when it hits upon some silica, everything shuts down, and then they hand dig out, hopefully something beautiful. This is a rarity. It is October's birthstone, and look at that. Look at that. That is my favorite stone. There's no two opals ever alike, and I have this priced to sell because opals like that, truly, you know, 300 a carat, 400 a carat, 500 a carat, you know, anywhere in that range is reasonable because here's the thing about opals. I always said when they mine them, they need to pull up the dirt, set it out in the sun, in the Australian sun for a year, and then before they cut it, so that if any are going to craze or dry out, they will have had the chance to do so. But no, a miner can't do that. He has a gem, he's going to cut it right away, he's going to try to sell it into the market right away. Well, what happens is opals don't craze right away. If they're going to do that, it might take a little bit of time, and you end up buying something that crazes later. So when you have something that is decades old, it actually adds a desirability factor to it because you know it's stable. You know it is an opal that hasn't recently been mined and going to dry out on you. So this has all the pluses. $588. $588, which is, well, it's just at a 5 carat stone. So I don't know, what, $120 a carat, something? I don't know. Inexpensive when it comes down to the value on that. Take advantage. That is a real jewel. Plus, you have the picture and the story to tell of the October opal. Let me show you that surprised us all when we saw where it was hanging, and after the amount of time we spent looking for it, all we could do was laugh. Item 129-1425. 129-1425. Look at these that would go magnificently with that one. And what do I have? I have three freeform crystal opals. Look at these jewels. And wow. Okay, so back, front. This is a fantastic collection of 3 very intense and attractive beauties here. Look at that. Look at that. Wow. Excellent opportunity and to get in. And so many of you like freeforms. I do as well. And the cutters do also, because they don't waste any opal by doing that. And freeform pieces of jewelry always end up being one of a kind, custom, because they have to be made for the particular piece instead of made for a calibrated piece. So anyway, how about this? All 3 of these, carat 60 total weight. How about only $128? Wow. So, you know what? Let's do this. Wait, nope, hold on. That was the wrong bag. I was wondering about that. $78 on those. $78. I was reading the price of the emeralds. I probably should have stuck with the price of the emeralds, but $78 now, those should be sold. Let me offer you now item number 129-3125. 129-3125. And look at this. Look at this. Look at this. When I first saw this, I thought, wow, that is a Sweet Home rhodochrosite. But hold on. It wasn't. It's not. As soon as it's a modified Portuguese cut. Look at that. And Mahenge Spinel, which would normally be super, super expensive. Look at that cut. I have a really good opportunity on this. And wow, that's a lot of beautiful facets. $68. Only $68. That's like $50 a carat. No, 67. Excuse me. It was $50 a carat. $67. Take that. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Look at that stone. Mahenge pink spinels go for a large fortune. Item number, let me see what this jewel, oh, item 129 2725, 129 2725. And this is everyone's favorite from Cambodia. So if I said that, what's your favorite gem from Cambodia? There really isn't too many choices that most of you would come up with. I think your number one that you would probably think of would be the correct one. I know of other gems from Cambodia, but most people would say this one. Look at that. Look at that. Cambodian zircon. So you should know also by now that zircon, blue zircons, are have to be treated to become that blue color. And that's all right because it's completely acceptable by everybody by now. And that's all right. They're gorgeous, beautiful gems. I love blue zircons and the whole zircon family, actually. And those rich colors like that can bring big money. Price on this one isn't so much. It's 3.29 carats, and I am going to offer this one for let me change. How about this? If that was only 25 carats, make it $77. $77. I don't even know how much a carat that is. $25 a carat or something. I know it's a excellent value. So don't miss out on that one. I haven't had too many of those to offer. All right, let me clean up the turntable. I'll be right back. Okay, I am bringing you some of the best of the best that I've hung on to here. Obviously, if I still have these, I haven't wanted to sell them all. These were mine 15 to 20 years ago. I have sold many of these. These are the charcoal, these are diamonds. These are earth-mined diamonds, and that's why I've held on to them, because you know what? There's not going to be many earth-mined diamonds anymore at the rate that the diamond mines are closing, are folding up, and that's a shame. That is a shame. Even the ones that produced all these years are closing up due to, they ran out of diamonds, like the Argyle mine. Other mines are closing due to lack of profitability because of all of the lab grown. If you want in, look at this. I have opportunity of 7 of these. Look at these these are drilled diamond crystals. And wow, you can see they're on a really strong wire. You can just leave them on this wire. You can see how long it is. They are just used crimp. Any of you who string know how to end these off with just a crimp bead. You can even use the same beads that are there. These are really easy to buy 2 of them, to string them longer, to use a crimp bead, to add to them, whatever you may want to do. Or just take them off and use them. They're diamonds for whatever you may want. The price is a bargain. Earth mine diamonds, these, they're not even recovering this quality anymore. The mines, it's just not worth it. These are really old. I am offering these now, and I apologize for any of you who paid more in the past for them, but this is, I'm almost to my last show. This is when I need to sell them. I am offering these per strand. These are 14 carats. I'm offering these per strand for $68 a strand. There's 7 of them. $68 a strand. And that makes it at 14 carats that less than $5 a carat. $68 a strand. That is, I can't tell you just how inexpensive that is. Imagine what it would take to drill those, to drill all of those alone. A lot of effort, and well, I can't even find these anymore. Used to be able to find them at shows, not deals like that anymore. Not deals like that. All right, now, as the clock is ticking down, it is time to give you the bargain aramas. The bargain aramas are coming up right now. Item number 125, 1425. 125, 1425. Now, this is a shocker that this is not sold. You have seen this before. Look at this monster peridot. This peridot is often always has inclusions. So when they're large like this is what makes it super, super rare. Look at this. For those of you that cut, if you want to recut it, what a gem. This is a giant peridot. This is Burma peridot. That is why it has that super nice color. It doesn't have that limey yellow color that you see in so many other situations. I have offered this at a deal before. You haven't taken advantage of it, so now I'm going to make it even less, which is not what I should do. What I should do is just hang on to it, recut it myself, do something like that. It also has some of the most interesting inclusions. If you want to learn about inclusions in peridot, that is a great piece. Remember, we just talked about peridot earlier. Peridot called in a palisite. So here you go. Now, this was a deal at $20 a carat, and would still be 12.97 carats. Here's what's, I am laughing at myself. At $10 a carat, I've already looked up how much something like this would go for, and it's a lot of money. At 10 would be 129, forget that. Here, let's just see if anybody really knows how valuable something like this is by me offering it for the price of, that would be, well, let's make it $5 a carat, so around $64. $64 question right there. Am I worth $64? And for those of you who don't know what the $64 question is, then you're too young. All right. Oh boy. There is so many items here that I need to offer all of you at incredible deals, and well, you just need to take advantage of them so that you can always say, wow, that Shawn guy, he really gave us some good deals. And that would be what, along with many other things, how I would want you to remember me. Okay, so let's look at, man, I'm looking at so many good looking stuff. Kentucky agates that you probably never are going to wind up with now. And oh, those are a good deal. I have Hessonite garnet rough, but this one, you know, the Colombian cat's eye emerald. This cat's eye emeralds, you never get to see the cat's eye real strongly. It's just not, in an emerald, it's just never that way. But let me show you. Here is a gem that you'll seldom ever see, and you may not see this one if I can't get it out of the tube. Well, you know, when something like that goes against you, it tells me that, Shawn, you showed this before, no one bought it, and it means that what you'd be offering it for now would be way below what the value is. So I go with that little sound in my voice that says, Shawn, don't sell that, just keep it, and I will. All right, let's look at item number 121, 7724. 121, 7724. And this goes along with what we were featuring earlier, except it's already cabochon for you. Look at that. Look at that. Untreated. This is your chrysocolla, like you saw in that those specimens, except a beautiful cab, really rich in color. And again, something for everybody, 17.47 carats. That sounds like $12. $12. Because you guys didn't buy it when it was $1 a carat. Look at that. That is stunning. Cutting, quality, everything. Now, let's get in some pieces here that, like this, 101 1521. 101 1521. It's the last parcel I have, and it goes along with these rough diamonds. So I am segueing. Look at this, the blue diamonds. These are complete crystals. Beautiful, beautiful crystals of blue diamonds. And of course, they're treated. They're South African, 25 carats, 65 to 70 stones, crystal parcel. Look at that. And when you look at these close, you'll see their macles. They will teach you all kinds of lessons about diamonds and the crystals and how they're, what forms they come in. Plus, you can also actually use these and press them down into some of that silver clay material, cast it like it is, and they come out. They're really neat. They're very educational as well. All right, so price on these, you know, here is the deal. There's 25 points at $100 a carat. That'd be $25. How about this? $12 for the parcel. Like $50 a carat. There won't be another parcel. That's it. That it will be it. Now let's see. The next opportunity, item 1227 324. 1227 324. And we are wrapping it up here. This goes along well with some other educational things I was doing. Look at this, Goshenite. Goshenite, clear beryl. How rare and unique is that? Look at those. And it has siderite. Look at those beautiful formations of siderite. This is facet grade quality. Look at this. I can't believe, look at that. I've had these out and no one has bought them when you should have. So I named after Goshen, Massachusetts. You know what? This will be the last item of the show, from the Burris farm. And if you look and zoom in on that location now, it is nothing but woods. And wouldn't that be neat to go back to it? Price on this, here you go. These amazing, amazing pieces. As the last item of the show, bargain of the bargain of the show, $28. $28, and I'll be back in a moment. Okay, well, that wrapped it up, except it never fully wraps it up because there's always another item to show, but the clock runs out. All right, so speaking of the clock, we're looking at a calendar. This is the end of October. I'm not going to get to see you before Halloween, so happy Halloween to all of you, and hope it's a fun one. Just stay safe, and you know, I had my spooky moment for you for the show. That opal situation, there must be some good vibes in there. Not only is it the birthstone for the month of October, but spider webs, opals, you know, it can't get more Halloween than that. Take advantage of the items in today's show, and especially the Founders Collection from Frank Cercelli, our beloved founder, and you know, people like us have known him longer than I have, but it was a pleasure of a man to meet and to speak to about rocks and minerals. He's missed among us who knew him, and there'll be more things in the next two shows coming that I will be featuring from his collection. Plus, there'll be items from my collection as well that you won't have gotten a chance to see or buy before. But since I only have the last, towards the last week of November and the last week of December, 2 more shows with you, look forward to those as I will. Until then, have a blessed fall, stay safe, and I can't wait to see you in and at the next show. Cheers.